Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Ladies and gentlemen, today protesters took to the streets to showcase their anger over the RG rape and murder case and demanded justice for the survivor. Students launched a march to Nabanna, housing the state secretariat, but chaotic scenes played out on the streets leading to Nabanna as police intercepted a huge crowd marching to the state secretariat. The Bengal police erected barricades along the Howrah Bridge, which was closed ahead of the protest. However, as the protest march began, these protesters attempted to break the barricades. Subsequently, protesters clashed with the cops, riot police, in fact using tear gas, water cannons and even batons to stop the protesters from proceeding towards the state secretariat. Now, some of the protesters were also seen throwing stones towards the cops, and some pictures also of cops coming under attack as fury raged across the streets of Kolkata. TMC mocked the protests and said that it was a BJP-sponsored protest. TMC MP Shahinu Ghosh adding fuel to fire, saying that goon-like appearances of the protesters and also referring to a picnic. Hardly any woman seen a picnic-like protest with protesters taking a cool shower under water cannons. These are the sort of reactions that have been coming in from the TMC side.
रही बात रेप और मर्डर की, ये तो बहुत बड़ा सोशल क्राइम है, लेकिन पूरा देश में हो रहा है। कल बंगाल बंद का कॉल दिया, वो तो पूरा फ्लॉप होगा। आज का उसका वो गुंडागर्दी, लेकिन बेसिकली फ्लॉप है, इसीलिए ही तो गुंडागर्दी किया। कहीं पर स्टेज नहीं था, कोई लीडर का भाषण का अरेंजमेंट नहीं था, सिर्फ सोशल मीडिया में प्रोवोकेशन देकर चलो ব্যারিকেড ভাঙো और ঘুষ যাও নবান্ন में।
তদন্ত চাওয়ার তথা সুবিচার চাওয়ার দায়িত্ব ও অধিকার আমাদের সকলেরই আছে, কিন্তু আজ মহানগরকে এবং তারপর কাল বাংলাকে স্তব্ধ ও অচল করার যে প্রয়াস হলো ও হচ্ছে তা সম্পূর্ণত অসমর্থনীয়। এই পরিস্থিতিতে পশ্চিমবঙ্গ সরকার জানাচ্ছেন আগামীকালের প্রস্তাবিত বন্ধকে মানা হবে না, মেনে নেওয়া হবে না।
After violence unfolded on the streets of Kolkata, BJP slammed the police's alleged high-handedness in the city as far as handling of protesters who were agitating against the rape and murder of a trainee doctor. The BJP has accused West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee of protecting those responsible for the rape and murder of this trainee doctor. The BJP has alleged that Didi's Bengal, in fact, is helping rapists and criminals, in fact, also saying that it's a crime to speak out on women's safety. Listen in to the war of words, and this is what the BJP says.
तानाशाह ममता बनर्जी और साथ में वो पुलिस कमिश्नर जिन्होंने इसको आत्महत्या बताया था और उसके बाद सर्वोच्च न्यायालय और कलकत्ता उच्च न्यायालय से फटकार लगी। सत्य को बाहर आना चाहिए, इसलिए जांच एजेंसी सीबीआई जांच कर रही है। वो पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट करे ममता बनर्जी का और पुलिस कमिश्नर का।
Today, police and Mamata Banerjee has unleashed the violence on the student agitation. Opposing this, we have called for a 12-hour bandh, that is strike, in the state of West Bengal.
Instead of standing with the family of the victim for justice, we are seeing that Mamata Banerjee's government from day one is standing for Balatkari Bachao, Saboot Mitao, Satya ki Awaaz Dabao.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us with us is RP Singh, spokesperson of the BJP. Also with us is Ishkaran Bhandari, who's a Supreme Court advocate. Lalita Kumaramangalam is a former chief of the National Commission for Women. We also have with us Dr. Riju Datta, who's a spokesperson of the TMC. Shubhankar Bhattacharya, political analyst, is with us. And Kamruzaman Chaudhary, political analyst, also joins us. Let me start with you, Dr. Riju Datta. A very, very clear allegation coming in from the opposition in West Bengal is that the reaction of the police to the protesters today was disproportionate. How do you respond to that?
Okay. We have all seen the images that has come out today, and your channel has shown the images of what happened in the streets of Calcutta. But some images which are never shown on any prime time, I just want to show those images. Can you see? Can you see? 1, 2, 3. These
We can barely understand what you're saying. Why didn't you tell us? What are the images?
Injured.
Nobody's denying. Nobody's denying that there are protesters who have pelted stones on the police. One second, Riju, I said so in my introduction. I don't know if you heard me. Protesters have pelted stones on the police. Police has come under attack. No one's denying that. But if you look at the overwhelming number of pictures, it's happening the other way around.
Just going to... Okay, now let me not mince my words before everybody else come in and say the way it is. This was not a students' protest. If anybody calls this a students' protest, they should check their mental stability in AIMS ASAP. This was a protest by the gundas of BJP, who are rioters. People who pelt stones, we call them rioters, right, Madhav? These were rioters. They broke barricades, they pelted stones, they set fire to government vehicles, police vehicles, they vandalized personal shops, government property. 25 police are admitted in hospital, severely injured. One head is split wide open. One police officer lost his eye. From 9th August, when the heinous crime took place in Bengal, on an average, there are 10 protests daily in Bengal. Daily. Have you seen these scenes ever? Even the left and the Congress takes out protests. Have you seen this ever? Why this happened today? And what is this Nabanna Cholo? What kind of an illiteracy is this? Why will you go to the Secretariat of West Bengal? 13th of August, the case was given to the CBI. It has been 14 days. The prime accused was arrested by Kolkata police in 12 hours. No new arrests made.
That's okay, Riju. Datta, in Delhi, there is Parliament Cholo that happens.
Fictitious claims of gang rape and everything.
Riju, now 2-3 points. You've made 2-3 points. First of all, Nabanna Cholo, wherever they want to go, it is fine. The police may be justified, may not be justified in its action. That's the subject of a political debate. But the point is that if the call was given by students to protest, who comes and supports them is not within their control. And by saying and dubbing the entire protest as a politically sponsored one, it's taking away from the cause of those students, is it not, Riju Datta?
There was no student. I am saying it on live TV. There were the 3 students that called for this protest. You show me, and your archive is very strong, Madhav. Any one of them on the protest today. There was none of the people who called the protest was not on the streets. Who were on the streets? Shubhendu Adhikari, Shukanto Majumdar, Arjun Singh, Kostobakji, BJP leaders. The bottom line I'm trying to say is this. People are saying this narrative, high-handedness of the West Bengal government.
Okay.
This same scenes we saw in Badlapur. These same scenes we saw in UP, but when it happens in a BJP ruled state, that is protecting the law and order.
Not at all, Riju Datta. Don't come and mislead our viewers. We were equally hard on the Maharashtra government when those Badlapur scenes and the attacks of the protesters took place. Sorry, let's not. Nobody's here going to justify violence. And let me correct you: stone pelters and rioting is not the same thing. One is stone pelting, the other is rioting. All stone pelters may not necessarily be rioters. But since you have raised question of the BJP, I'm going to allow RP Singh to come in on this. RP Singh, it's your leaders who are present in large numbers. This was not a students' protest, it's a hijacked political protest. Please respond to the TMC spokesperson.
Madhav, this call was given for the protest by the students, and people at large in Kolkata joined this protest. Do you remember 1991, Mamata Banerjee's protest? That Mahakaran Abhijan, where she led the similar protest, not similar, that was violent protest. This was not a violent protest in that category where hundreds of policemen were injured and then many people died on that process, and vehicles, the public vehicle and the private vehicles were burned at that time. Well, that was okay because that was Mamata Banerjee leading the protest. And the way the police did the brutality today, and the way the police stripped the people on the road, the way the police dragged the women by their hair. I had never heard of something of this sort in my political career, 47-year political career, where women are being dragged on by road by the male policemen. I have videos and pictures with me. I'll send it to you, how they are being dragged on the road. This reminds me of the pre-independence era, where police used to do this, the British police used to do this on the protesters, the independent people who are protesting for the independence of the country, something of that sort. This reminds me of the way that Tilakji was hit on his head Well, that was something that's happening. And then if you're drawing a comparison, just few days back, Mamata Banerjee also led a protest. Well, police laid a red carpet for her. That here you come, ma'am. And both sides the police was standing and saluting her. Well, that was also a protest. But for that, police was showing was saluting her and then were laying red carpet for her. But today it was different. I mean, police was brutally, brazenly hitting people on street. I have a picture of man being dragged nude on the road. It's shocking. Man, how can police do that? I have pictures where women are being hit by the manhandled by the men policemen. So this is the stream of things which Mamata Banerjee does, and then she has been part of this herself. Now she's using the same techniques.
Okay,
her
Riju
techniques.
Riju Datta, I'm going to come to Mamata Banerjee's past track record, of course, in just a moment. But Riju Datta, here's the thing. You can't have a situation when we're protesting for women's safety that women protesters are being manhandled by male police personnel. There's, of course, the other allegation that when Mamata Banerjee and the TMC chooses to protest, then there's a red carpet laid out. There's also, of course, a stark difference of the fact that there was an intelligence failure or lack of security when the RG Car hospital was attacked middle of the night. But in this particular case, police is completely prepared.
The bottom line is, I'll remind your viewers, and I'm sure your archive is very strong, Madhav, that few days ago, the leader of opposition, and not a normal guy or a BJP cadre, leader of opposition of Bengal, Shubhendu Adhikari, in front of the media, outside the Vidhan Sabha, says if Mamata Banerjee does not resign by Monday, bullets will be fired on Tuesday. BJP, because they cannot electorally win Bengal, came out on the roads today for a dead body. They want Bengal to turn into a Bangladesh-like situation. They want anarchy. And I salute Calcutta police for their restraint, for their composure, that they have brought law and order and peace back in Kolkata and in Bengal. If this would have been what RP Singh ji said,
the people of Bengal, the mothers of Bengal, the mother of Bengal.
RP Singh ji, मैंने आपके बीच में नहीं बोला.
Shame on you. If you say you're saluted,
okay.
That police
commissioner. One at a time. Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one. One second. RP Singh, let him make his point. Let him make his point. I want to, in fact, bring in some of the other panelists as well. But Raju, you know, the questions over here are very serious. So you may raise questions about Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari, and you're perhaps factually right. I'm not going to even get in on that debate. The point is that what is this approach of the government where, you know, you have such a horrific crime that has taken place and people are out there to protest, and all of this is happening, mind you, at a time when the Supreme Court has very clearly said that peaceful protesters, there should not be any action taken on them.
Right, absolutely right, and I agree with you on this. But does peaceful protest means breaking barricades, burning government property, police vehicles, beating up policemen on the road, throwing bottles and pelting stones? If that is your definition for peaceful protest, then Madhav, I've actually...
Ishkaran Bhandari, does this fall foul of the definition of the Supreme Court in terms of what peaceful protests are? Let Ishkaran come in. He's a Supreme Court advocate. Ishkaran.
Madhav, we have to see holistically what's been happening in the state of West Bengal. From the day when the news of this gruesome murder rape came out, to the High Court hearing where High Court had very stringent observations to make, to how the case got transferred to CBI, and to the Supreme Court's wise word, which you have also quoted, is that peaceful protesters should not be harassed or should not be harmed in any manner. And I presume that should have been also for peaceful protesters on the social media. So the strategy cannot be that if a civil society has been shaken by a gruesome crime and students or doctors or members of civil society want to protest, peaceful protests is a legitimate right. I have been on your debates on various protests. I've always maintained that you can't have violent protests, but peaceful protest is your fundamental right. And if protests are going on, they're to create conditions to use overwhelming amount of force to create situations in which people cannot protest. That is not fitting for any state government, and that is where the Supreme Court words should have been paid heed to. That is why that hearing in Supreme Court was important. That is why the doctors were protesting. How in the same state so many people can reach the hospital and vandalize that hospital? Even after that, hospital has to be protected. Even then, when supposedly the police was there to protect it. And that is why the Supreme Court had to pass orders on protection of the hospital. So at one time, you can have so many people reach the hospital. Why was all those preventions not made for those people? But when people are seeking justice or students are doing peaceful protest, then you have again gruesome violence happening, whether it is a police officer who's been injured, that is also scary for the law and order of the city, or a student protester is being injured, that is overall a failure of law and order. If police people are getting beaten up or students are getting beaten up, that means you have not handled the situation the way it should have been handled. And how scathing is an indictment that a hospital building is not being protected by West Bengal police now, Supreme Court had to step in. So that overarching failure, we can pick and choose images we want to based on our political preference, but there appears to be a complete larger failure of law and order in the state of West Bengal, which has come out in this entire incidence of rape and murder.
Okay, let me bring in Shubhankar Bhattacharya on that note. Shubhankar Bhattacharya, there's a larger problem in our approach to law and order. You have such a heinous crime taking place. Those who are protesting once attacked as far as the RGK hospital is concerned, and now when they're out on the streets, once again being blockaded by the police. And the police action, as I began the debate saying, clearly appearing to be disproportionate. Of course, both sides have enough in terms of images which they are quoting. One can selectively quote, but the larger question is this, that this is happening on a mass scale, and I don't think anywhere in the country we've seen this kind of a crackdown take place on protesters at the scale at which it appears to have taken place in Kolkata. Shubhankar.
Yes. See, Madhav, the kind of scene that it is already running on the screen, this tells anything but peaceful protest. This is anything but peaceful protest. And if you have not seen a crackdown like what it has happened in West Bengal, to anytime, please, you're invited to UP and come down to the Vidhan Sabha and see what happens when, you know, the teachers over here, they protest. The Shiksha Mitra came out and protested. They were beaten. Some of the legs were, you know, they were broken. The use of the same tear gases that were used over there. So this is a very normal thing we see in UP. So yes, it is happening in West Bengal, and I'm not very happy about it. Secondly, when you say that the entire protest thing, see, I find a lot of similarity between what is happening in Bangladesh and what is happening in this, because BJP has become a very, you know, expert in taking the cue. They have taken a cue from the Bangladesh student protest, and they are using the same politics over here in West Bengal, which is very, very dangerous. Which is very dangerous. Because someday, you know, this same weapon that they are using over here, that is going to turn to you, to the BJP itself in their own state.
No,
and then they will be complaining
no,
about
but,
it.
But Shubhankar, the question is this.
You know,
one second, the question is this. When in Delhi, the farmers' protests take place, they are not allowed to enter the city. Mamata Banerjee at that point spoke up for the farmers, saying that why use tear gas against the farmers? Now the same tear gas is being used against protesters here. So how are the yardsticks changing from state to state, sir?
Same way, Madhav, the way the pelters in Jammu and Kashmir are called the terrorists and the pelters in West Bengal are called the nationalists. It is the same yardstick, you see, that is the difference. That is
I think there is, I think you're making it very, you're oversimplifying it, but
if you, I have not seen.
No, please, you know, Shubhankar, you know, what happens in Jammu and Kashmir and the kind of soft separatism that happens there, please do not link it to a brutal crime on a young lady doctor. I think that's highly insensitive of you to even compare the two states. The problems of Jammu and Kashmir are very different. I think you're intelligent enough to understand that. Let's please not have this on national television. It's okay, you can compare Uttar Pradesh, you can compare other states, but please don't bring in Jammu and Kashmir into this. But anyway, since you've made the point, Ishkaran, quick response to what Shubhankar just said. Ishkaran, if you can hear me, I want you to respond to what Shubhankar just said. He says this happens in UP. He's of course comparing it to Jammu and Kashmir. He's saying this happens in other states of the country as well. Why make such a big deal of West Bengal?
Madhav, my number had completely conked off. So can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear the question.
Shubhankar repeating that this is not unique to West Bengal. This happens outside the UP Vidhan Sabha. He of course said that stone pelting has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. So why are you saying it's any different from what is happening in West Bengal?
it's very unfortunate if somebody tries to justify the happenings of a crime in any state by saying that what is the big deal in this, it has happened in another state, or to say ये छोटी-छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं और लड़के कर देते हैं. These are not defense which the people of this country deserve. Every state has to stand on its own footing, and we have of course discussed, debated, casted state governments when they have had failure of law and order in their own states. Which state hasn't suffered? In fact, most states get global attention if a heinous crime occurs. Most states get the entire media, national as well as international, focusing on the crimes. Take the example of Nirbhaya. It became a global international news. I went to court against the accused in Nirbhaya case, wanting that juvenile should be given the maximum punishment. Later the law changed, and 16 to 18 now you can give for heinous crimes adult punishment. So it is not one-off. In Nirbhaya, one person sitting on the debate went against the people who had committed the crime, the accused. Similarly, the only difference is some people just sit down with political lenses and say every other state we should talk about, but not if it's a state which belongs to a political party we like. The question is, a gruesome rape murder happened of a young doctor. The fact is that the doctors themselves of the hospital have protested. The fact is the civil society has been shaken up. The fact is the High Court had to hear the matter. The fact is Supreme Court felt the matter had to be heard suo moto. So of course the matter has to be discussed. And stop doing this, pointing at other states. Please defend the actions of West Bengal government and satisfy the citizens of West Bengal.
Let me bring in Lalita Kumar Mangalam. Lalita Kumar Mangalam, all of this action that is happening on ground, if you listen to the TMC, they say that these are not protesters, they're not students, these are all politically sponsored protests. The point is there is a horrific, brutal crime that has shocked the nation. We've been discussing it for over a fortnight. The point is that despite something of this kind of magnitude taking place, why is it that we are still having such sharp political rhetoric on it? I mean, end of the day, something should be above and beyond politics. That doesn't seem to be happening in the case of the RG Kar hospital brutal rape and murder.
Yeah, Madhav, from hearing the commentary from everybody from the TMC and those who seem to be pro the TMC tonight, it seems that my mother's state has descended into a sort of mental and physical fatigue against violence against women. Whatever the excuses that may be given, even if it was the BJP that sponsored or participated in today's protest, they have a democratic right to do so. The point is not that. What today's people were protesting was the gaps and the lapses done by the TMC. They were by the TMC government. Now, obviously, the West Bengal government wants to move beyond that and, in a sense, draw the curtain across it and now start talking about how everything happens in every state. So what if rapes happen? And I don't mean it the way it's coming out. Yes, violence against women almost seems to be normalized today in this country. It's disgusting. According to me, it's perversion and it's extremely unfortunate. But that does not excuse what is happening in West Bengal today. It's not a tutu meh that's going on here. Every girl or every child who's raped deserves justice. The opposition's job is to protest. If it's the BJP in West Bengal, it's some other party in Maharashtra. And in both places, they were within their rights to protest. The point is not that. Even in Nirbhaya's case, the response from the government was different from what the TMC's response is. They will, of course, have to defend themselves. That's part of the political process. But the point is not that. The point is that, again, today, women were manhandled, literally. Again. And that is what is the most frightening thing for a woman like me. That in a state where Durga is worshipped for 10 days every year, right? Here you have men almost systematically mistreating, malhandling, and in the case of that poor child who was murdered the way she was, literally violence against women seems to have become systemic there. This is what is the most frightening thing.
Riju Datta, respond to that. Violence against women appears to have been systematized in West Bengal. That's the scary part of what's happening.
Okay, now let me talk numbers rather than go into rhetorics or whataboutery. I hope Madam who spoke before me, she knows that per day, every day in this country, there are roughly 90 rapes that take place. Bengal, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, wherever, all over this country. There has been a provision in BNS where if a doctor causes death by negligence, he will be put behind bars. The doctors all across our country are demanding CPA, Central Protection Act. Let the BJP bring it, let the union government bring it. Trinamool Congress supports the CPA. Second, we are raising this issue. My Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, has written to the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, bring an anti-rape law where within 50 days, through a fast-track court, the guilty will be hanged by the gallows. Unless we can instill fear in these criminals, nothing is going to change in Bengal. We will come, do debates, or nothing is going to change in this country. We will come, do debates and do halla gulla, nothing will happen. It is for the union government. The union government passed an ordinance at the middle of the night to take the powers from the Delhi government and give to LG.
No, that has nothing to do with this, sir. Please, let's not. Why are you mixing up what is happening in Delhi and what is happening in West Bengal? What do the two have to do with each other?
So people giving lectures, people giving lectures should lecture the union government.
No. Please, Mr. Riju Datta, you know, it's not like West Bengal has a separate model of democracy where opposition cannot protest. If opposition has a right to protest in Delhi, and if they right to protest in UP and every other part where BJP is ruling, opposition in West Bengal also will be protesting. So let's not change the yardsticks when it comes to states where, you know, where it's very easy to criticize the center. And certainly I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a Central Protection Act, but since you've asked the question, Dr. Soumitra Rawat, why not bring in a Central Protection Act to protect the doctors?
What we are discussing as well. So today was the first meeting we had, and it was a very proactive and very constructive meeting, and everybody who were the member were there. Cabinet Secretary was there, Home Secretary, Health Secretary, and all others members were there. And we had a very detailed and elaborate discussion. And, you know, we gave our suggestions, we gave our recommendations as well. And you know, we were also approached by various stakeholders, organization which were representing junior doctors. We also has a representation from Indian Medical Association, and I'm a surgeon, so we had a representation and the recommendations from Association of Surgeons of India. And I must say, it was a very constructive meeting. They asked each and every member what kind of recommendation you want to give. And they have also created a national portal by Ministry of Health, where suggestions from any organization, it's welcome.
Okay, we'll have to see how that law pans out. But let me quickly, before I go across to Kamruzaman Chaudhary, let's just quickly remind our viewers of Mamata Banerjee, her own rise as a political leader and what the track record is. Because as far as Mamata Banerjee is concerned, we have seen in 1993, in fact, one of the panelists earlier, RP Singh, was mentioning the various protests that have taken place. The protest at Writers Building, where the cops opened fire at protesters being led by Mamata. 13 were killed in that particular protest as well. In 2006 in Shingur, prevented from approaching Shingur, and Mamata Banerjee at that point of time had said that police atrocities there were nothing short of gundaism and gagging the voice of the opposition. In 2007, Nandigram protest not allowed to enter the villages, and on the 15th of March, Mamata returned to Kolkata and called for a ban the very next day. This is Mamata Banerjee's track record as far as her right to protest is concerned. How the yardsticks have changed, Riju Datta. In fact, let me bring in Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, if today we are seeing this action take place on ground, Mamata Banerjee, her own meteoric rise in West Bengal and the track record of protests, this is something that's very, very extensively documented. Would you like to remind Riju Datta when he today talks about protests and the need to remain peaceful?
Yeah, Madhav, this world is round, you know, and everything that goes has to come to the same point, the starting point. Mamata Banerjee as an opposition leader, one of the best opposition leader that India had prior to Rahul Gandhi. Now, what happened is that her time-tested formula was Mahakaran Chalo or Lal Bazaar Chalo. Mahakaran is the same as we call Nabanna today, the headquarters of the government. So she will always come in conflict with the Calcutta police. There will be some lathi charges, water cannons going around, and she used to politicize it for her own political benefits. That's what happened today. Madhav, let me just cite you this thing, you know. We as Calcuttans, you know, we were all against the attack on that lady, the rape and the murder of that lady doctor in RG Court All the citizens were on the streets. We were protesting against this heinous crime. But the saddest part of this is a citizens' protest has been hijacked by the BJP RSS today in their anarchist agitation today. That's the saddest part, and BJP has lost the plot, I'm telling you. Congress, CPM, even leave aside the political parties, the RGK junior doctors who are protesting right now, they have opposed this agitation today because we were all skeptical that hooligans will be taking over the streets of Calcutta today, and we should not permit it. Because we are fighting for the justice for the young doctor who has lost her life and millions of doctors who are being harassed on a day-to-day basis.
Let me get a quick response from Dr. Rawat. Dr. Rawat, are these hooligans or are they doctors? Because here you have two very diametrically different versions. And the larger question is also, if there is political support that any protesters get, who's to say that this is right or this is wrong? In this case, of course, the allegation is that they turned violent.
Madhav, I don't want to get involved in this thing, who they were, because I was not present there. My aim is to, which has been mandated by Supreme Court, is to come out with the guidelines and recommendation so as to prevent violence against the medical professional and to, have a protocol for dignified and safe working.
Right, sure.
For the doctor, nurses.
Let's get in a quick response.
I must say one thing, Madhav.
Yeah, very quickly, sir. We're almost out of time.
Yeah. One thing I would say, I have been a doctor for more than 30 years. I haven't seen anything like this. I was in India first for 12 years, 17 years in UK. Then I have been back to India for 12 years. I haven't seen anything like this. What has happened?
Well, sir, we certainly hope we never again have to see anything like this, because the entire system of democracy works on accountability of the political class. If they're not going to be held accountable, and if they're not accountable even when big protests like this take place, then there is a serious problem of really who takes into account or who handles these kinds of situations in terms of sensitivity, particularly when you have an entire nation outraged. We'll have to leave it there. Completely out of time. R.P. Singh, Ishran Bhandari, Dr. Soumitra Rawat, Lalita Kumar Banglam, Dr. Riju Datta, Shubhankar Bhattacharya, Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Thanks so much for joining us on debate number 1.